I received quite a lot of criticism against my previous video, especially from the Jordan Peterson fan club. and uh, they argued that I don't give enough examples, and today I will give at least one example. And then also some of them are saying things like, but if you were to argue with or debate with Jordan Peterson, he would make you look like a fool because he has now the superior intellect. Now, this particular comment, I think, actually proves the premise of the video, and that is that people who are not familiar with philosophy, they tend to be more emotional about things. They tend not to have reason as their guiding force. And then in a debate itself, they don't think rational argument is actually that important. They think that a debate is actually a dick measuring competition. Before I make a few remarks with an example, I just want to introduce to you the concept of the expert witness. Now, if an expert witness testifies in a court of law, um, the expert witness cannot just go to court and say, I'm an expert and this is my finding, the end. It doesn't quite work like that. An expert, and say for argument's sake, it's a fingerprints expert, he needs to tell the court that his qualifications, the courses he attended, his years of experience. Then the expert needs to, in detail, tell the court about the method that he followed to get to his conclusion and to his finding. And the court itself cannot just accept the evidence like that. The court must apply its mind. Um, Now, the other thing is, if this expert, fingerprint expert, testify about something else, maybe say about a firearm, that evidence isn't expert evidence on the firearm because he is not an expert on the firearm. The example I want to use today in support of my arguments was a debate between Slavoj Zizek and Jordan Peterson about Marxism a few years ago. Now, what happened is that Jordan Peterson actually started and he made a few introductory remarks, and at the end there was a bit of polite applause for him. And then Zizek, he made his opening remarks, and what happened is Zizek immediately started to highlight the good of Marx and the bad of Marx, and whenever he made a particularly insightful comment, the audience, which I sense to be a bit more mature, not just a bunch of first-year students, they applauded him for it, and then at the end of his introduction, the audience gave him big applause, to such an extent that Zizek actually tried to stop the audience to applaud him, and he also apologized to Peterson, and he said to Peterson that debate is not about getting the most applause. A debate really is about making a meaningful contribution, and that is now a true philosopher that thinks like that. But also it became quite clear very quickly that Peterson, his knowledge on Marx and his insight on Marx was quite superficial. And it was quite a big disappointment for the audience as well as for Zizek, who on numerous occasions had to tell him, but if you read Marx carefully, then this or that. Or at some stage he asked him a question and he said, look, you are talking about all these dangerous Marxists But who are they? And I'm not just asking you as a polite way of telling you you don't know what you're talking about. I really want to know, who are they? And Peterson didn't really answer the question. So it was quite obvious that Peterson's um, knowledge and insight into Marx is fairly superficial. And please understand, I'm not criticizing his knowledge or insight. It might be better than most people, but he's not an authority on Marx. And that is where I have a problem with Peterson, because he debates a lot on various topics that doesn't fall in his field of expertise, and he's not honest about not being an expert or an authority on the topic. In fact, whenever I listen to Peterson, where he debates on a topic that is not part of his expertise, I always left with this impression that he wants to present himself as an authority on the topic. He doesn't, for instance, say in this Marx debate that, look, I'm not an expert on Marx. I read it, and this is what I see is problematic. No, he pretends to be an authority on Marx. If he debates somebody on climate change, he pretends to be a authority on climate change. If he talks to somebody about philosophy, and it's not explicit, it's implied. You know, he will when he talks about philosophy, he will bring in philosophers like, when I read Nietzsche, and when I read Sartre, and when I read Foucault, and this is what's wrong with Foucault, and this is what's wrong with Derrida, and he often debates about Karl Marx. And now here we can see clearly his superficial knowledge. And fair enough, fine, sir. You can debate about all those topics. Nobody's stopping you, but just be open about it. That you have a limited knowledge about a particular topic. Don't pretend that you're the authority on a topic. It's just the fact that people in a traditional society, they tend to latch onto figures of authority. This is not like God or dictators or charismatic leaders. And what they also tend to do is they put these charismatic leaders on a pedestal. They are like a demi-god to people in a traditional society. And my question is really to the Jordan Peterson fan club, is that are you not in danger of falling into this group?